23andMe had a $6 billion valuation when they first IPO'd in 2021. Today, their stock price is worth close to $0, and NASDAQ is threatening to delist their stock. So what happened? 23andMe is a genetics biotech company that will tell you your ancestry and health data with just your saliva. Spit into a tube, send it to 23andMe, and you'll get a comprehensive report of where you're from, ancestry timeline, and even chromosome pairing. Pay a little extra, and you can even get a wellness report to tell you what diseases you have or might be more susceptible to. It's basically a direct-to-consumer health startup, and it was one of the hottest startups just a couple years ago. But to really understand why 23andMe is on the verge of dissolving, we have to start from the beginning. Back in 2005, Anne Wojcicki, the founder and CEO, got the idea from her friend Linda A.V. They met in 2005 through Sergey Brin, who, if you didn't know, is the founder of Google and Anne's boyfriend at the time. Anne loved the idea of personal genetics testing so much that she asked Linda if they could team up. And it was a win-win for Linda. Anne was smart and capable, plus she basically had infinite money from Sergey and guaranteed support from Google. In Linda's words from the Wall Street Journal, "I saw the stars aligning. If we wanted to get Google support, Anne could help cement that support because of her relationship with Sergey." That was my thinking at the time. I mean, who wouldn't want a guaranteed Series A round without any actual fundraising? So Linda and Anne became co-founders to create 23andMe. Sergey himself loaned them $2.6 million to get started and help recruit some early hires. Anne and Sergey married soon after in 2007, and Google pumped another $3.7 million into the company. Not bad being married to the founder of Google, but hey, why not take advantage of the assets you have? With all this new capital, Anne started to work on marketing. She threw spit parties where guests would spit into tubes to get back 23andMe DNA results. And she did this at high-profile events with lots of prominent people and celebrities, like the World Economic Forum and New York Fashion Week. Here she is, pictured in 2008 with Rupert Murdoch, Wendy Murdoch, Diane von Furstenberg, and Harry Weinstein. But even with all this press, DNA testing didn't go mainstream. Not when the price was $399. Too expensive to justify for the average consumer. Come 2009, Anne decided that she actually wanted to run the company by herself. So she convinced the board to fire Linda. And she was able to convince the board because allegedly, the board decided with her because of her money and connections to Sergey Brin, which they felt might be central to the company's future. So again, doesn't hurt to have a billionaire tech CEO by your side. A couple years later, in 2012, Anne was able to get some new capital from her billionaire neighbor, Yuri Miller, who would help lead 23andMe's $50 million Series D. This new capital allowed Anne to lower the price of the DNA testing kits to just $99, making it a justifiable price point for most Americans. 23andMe then went on a marketing spree to spread the news, but the FDA shut them down. The government had concerns over inaccurate reporting, and 23andMe hasn't cleared its work yet with the FDA. It took another 2 years before the FDA approved and before 23andMe could sell again. But that's when 23andMe went viral. Stories spread online of people discovering long-lost siblings, unexpected cousins, and even finding their parents. And just like that, 23andMe became the darling of Silicon Valley. Anne rented a swanky new office in Sunnyvale and had all the perks when people think of tech companies: free gourmet food, luxury gym, and free yoga classes. With all this momentum, in 2021, Anne took the company public. This is when a lot of companies were IPOing with the booming economy and cheap money with low interest rates. 23andMe IPO'd at a $3.5 billion valuation, peaking briefly at $6 billion, making Anne a billionaire too, like her ex-husband, Sergey Brin. Oh yeah, ex-husband. The Google founder cheated on her with his 27-year-old employee, Amanda Rosenberg, back in 2014. But she didn't do too bad for herself in the aftermath, dating baseball star Alex Rodriguez. But then people started being afraid of 23andMe. What happens to their data? 23andMe isn't bound by HIPAA, so it could share and sell your data. And for a company that's actually never turned a profit and now has to justify its valuation, selling data can be pretty lucrative. Now on their website, they say that they won't sell your data without consent. But 23andMe does sell your data if it's anonymized, and that's exactly what they did with GSK. GSK, by the way, are the people who make Tums. Together, they're venturing into drug development, hoping to make new discoveries with a treasure trove of genetic data. But drug development is insanely expensive. Just one drug can cost hundreds of millions of dollars and take a decade to go through clinical trials and be approved. And 23andMe is working on 50 separate drug candidates and hired a team of 150 people dedicated to this effort. So to create new revenue streams, Anne launched 23andMe Plus, a subscription service that offers personalized health reports, lifestyle advice, and unspecified new reports and features as discoveries are made, for the low price of $229 with an annual renewal fee of $69. From the Wall Street Journal, when a company last disclosed the number of subscribers a year ago, it had 640,000, less than half the number it had projected it would have by then. Another hit to the company just came a couple months ago in December. 23andMe announced that hackers accessed the personal data of 6.9 million users. And to add to the mistrust, people discovered 23andMe will comply with the government to share genetics data if there's a search warrant or court order. So far, only 11 requests have been made since 2015 by law enforcement, but this definitely doesn't help pacify people's concerns. From all these setbacks and the general economic downturn, 23andMe had to lay off a quarter of their staff last year, around 200 people. Personally, I think 23andMe grew too fast and hired too quickly. But when money was cheap and venture capitalists are pushing you to grow at whatever cost, it's hard to not spend money. But realistically, 23andMe's core product is a one-time use product. And once that market is saturated, who else are you going to sell to? A lot of people are pointing out parallels to Theranos, another female founder's health startup from Elizabeth Holmes that was once worth billions and now worth nothing. But the difference here is that 23andMe does work. The results don't lie and the tech is real. Maybe 23andMe just wasn't meant to be a billion-dollar company. At least not when they haven't figured out their business plan to be profitable.